because most of the music, sorry, but it's true, isn't it? Most of the music is over here in the piano part, and anybody who's tried to play this particular piece knows how fearsomely difficult that piano part is. It's an absolute classic for separating the men from the boys. Brilliant, Andrew, really fantastic. I think it's probably only a player that can really understand what everybody sitting here has just put through Henrietta through. It's incredibly difficult to muster all the necessary resources in a situation like this. This incessant, never-ending desire, attempt to sort of go for perfection in every single little twitch of every nerve ending you have, in order to make something as wonderful as possible. And we get one chance and that's it. And then, you sort of think, oh, I'm going to throw myself in the moat, or can I just do it again? Or, very, 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 very difficult. And it's always compounded by the fact that you've got, humidity like only the Lake District knows. So, the fact you can never get ideal circumstances. You've got soft fingertips which are, invariably sort of dry or sweating, and if it's a winter and there's no humidity at all, even the pianist will feel on the ivories that there's no sort of sense in the fingertips, that you're sliding around on glass. For us, it can either go and nothing will move, or it goes and you've missed it completely. How on earth do you manage to control all those things? It's very difficult. One trick. If you find yourself in a climate like this, where everything's cold and clammy and damp and clammy, just put a little bit of grease on your fingertip. There are various other parts of the body you can get this sort of. But it means that when you start and you've got some fearful things to do, there's the first one. You've got half a chance of finding it better than if you go and nothing moves because you're stuck with humidity. All these tiny little things, and it's going on nanosecond by nanosecond all the way through the piece. And as I'm saying, only a player can really understand what you've just done. So brilliant, well done, fantastic. I've even seen people, in fact I carry a little container of shea butter in my case, in fact, for the same reason, that at the beginning of a concert, when everything is a little bit suspect, just to have that extra little bit of slipperiness necessary, perhaps, or the opposite. Okay. And where to start? Every time these pieces come up, the F minor or the E flat, and I play the A major as well, much to the chagrin of the violinists. Every time I'm amazed again at what the man did, what he's actually achieved. It's just extraordinary. So we're very, very lucky that for a whole lifetime we can keep on coming back to these things and be amazed at what he's asking us to do and what he's managed to do. One of the things that you have to know, I think, is a little bit of grammar concerning classical slurs. I come up with this particular issue so often. If they start, I'm talking about the classicists, I'm talking about anybody through the 18th century into the 19th, and particularly Brahms in this regard, because we all know that he's torn between two extremes here, between his extreme reverence for the traditional and his need to find something more romantic, okay? And caught between these two poles is this incredible thing that we call Brahms, and we can't really quite say what it is that moves us so much about Brahms, but he always does. You can do without music for 6 months, and then a few strains of Brahms will come over a mountainside, and you'll be melted by it. You can't believe the power of it. It's quite extraordinary. So this classical grammar, the slur, to my mind, shows the beginning of something, of a phrase. Okay? It's incredibly important when you look at these scores, the piano parts. It's incredibly important for us. It shows something interesting. If, for example, you ignored his slurs, you'd hear right? But he doesn't write that, does he? No. He goes, or actually I should say, in other words, I started the phrase where the slur begins, which is on the anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
So that first note that you play, same thing applies to amabile. I mean, we can hear it more clearly on the piano because it's that much more articulate. We must, I think, show the first note of the slur, right? As opposed to, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Why? A, because it's classical grammar and rules. Secondly, he starts the piece on the downbeat, if you would. Okay? But then, when he develops the phrase, it's anticipated. Okay? Which immediately sends the energy in this sort of slightly more breathless way. Right? So I think you have to show that. That's classical grammar having a reason, having a purpose, having a function at the beginning of the slur. Right?
Okay.
I think I'm never going to stop telling myself these things, okay? So don't feel that I'm digging at you personally, Henrietta, I'm not. Things like, we've got all these notes. Okay. Which is the highest note? Yeah. There's the tonic. He has a longer interval, almost as if he has to take a foot back in order to thrust himself a little bit further forward to achieve that top note, right? So, easy. Okay, so that note is important. This note is possibly the most important note, after which he comes back to the tonic. But then he goes, there, which resolves on there, right? So it's important that we sustain that D in order to get that tritone tension, which resolves there. Dissonance, in other words. What's the opposite of dissonance? Concordance? Consonance. Thank you very much. Of course. See, we're supposed to know everything. And sorry, I'm going to say this to myself every time. Fourth finger.
Mm-hmm.
This note follows. That's quite a big interval. Fourth. No big interval. Sixth. Fourth. So there's the second highest note, if you like. It's touching. Those two are important. Your fourth finger had no vibrato on it. Oh no. Okay. So all the time I say to myself, Rog, look after your four fingers. Did you really look after your fingers? Sure. That's easy. That's our best finger, right? Second finger. Fourth finger.
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, off you go. So this part is going to be just about making sure you've got lots of vibrato. Lovely where am I going to go? Sorry, I'm always telling me I'm in the wrong place. All right, I'll stay here. Sorry if you can't see. Okay, I'll stay there. Very good. Your back foot, you need to put enough weight on that back foot to be able to lean forward to that one, right?
Yeah.
But what happened was, so I went, there's no way I can reach an F from here. I collapsed, right? So your energy on the D is critical.
Okay.
We're going to get to the point, you see, where every single note you play, the beginning, middle, and end of every note you play in Brahms becomes incredibly important. And you think, I can't do that. I cannot do that. No, but don't worry, you've got a lifetime. That's what I'm saying, you see. We come back to it every time. We try a little harder. Go on. Now we want the D. Very good. Now linger longer on the C. Can we get away with that? Yes, because he writes amabile.
Mm.
Right? He allows us the time to be generous. Very, 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 very good. And of that tritone, I heard the A flat. But the D is going to go forward in order to resolve on the... Got it?
Yeah.
Last time we go on. Very good. Very, very good. And then you started with an up note. up bow naturally tends to be weaker. So if you want to do it with the up bow, you're going to have to work a lot harder.
Yeah.
In fact, what I do that. But I snatch that retake so fast you barely see the arm moving. But actually, there's an emotional advantage to doing that. Energy for the anticipation.
Yeah.
Right? Try it. No. How many? I feel this is dangerous because I can finish up changing too many things and then you can't play, and that's not fair.
That's all right.
Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. And if you play the top note there, right on there, okay, which is the most important note going to be? You're going to say the A flat. I'm going to say the F. Right? And because it's also the anticipation, the classical slur starting one note too early, that's where the emphasis is.
Okay.
And it gives you masses of time to sing the biggest interval we've had so far, which is a tenth. Yes?
Yeah.
And then we can start talking about what kind of shift you want.
Okay.
But first, let's go from there. And then, would you just love that F for as long as you dare? He will wait for you. Fantastic. I yearn for a performance that does that. But why not? Why not? Because he said he was more interested in the expressive possibility of a phrase than keeping a metronomic bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's true, because the people who wrote about him heard him do it. Okay? So you have every excuse for indulging in this way. Okay, this room's a little bit small for it perhaps, but if it was 3,000 people out there and they all paid 150 quid, you could get away with it. The acoustic would take it. Right? Okay, so what's your shift? Right there. How are you doing it? Fine. Okay. In fact, I agree with you. Because if I sing it in my head, that's what I'm hearing. Not as much portamento as that, but something in that direction. Okay, good. Appoggiaturas. That's a classical appoggiatura. Okay, would you play the next harmony you reach out with to this one? Okay, would you now play the first one? The second one? Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that extraordinary? What's he saying with that second one? What's the facial expression on that second chord? Do it again. First one. Second one. Gosh, it's funny. It almost takes me back into Play Your Pains territory, actually. He takes me back into something a little bit more reverent. But he doesn't do it. It doesn't take me here. It doesn't do that to me.
Mm-hmm.
It does something more of that colour.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not asking you to do this now, but me, side, that note, bottom B flat please. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
So that note becomes the most important, almost the most important note that he played so far in the whole of the E-flat sonata. That one. All right?
All right.
So, orientate everything to your enjoyment of that one, B-flat please. Now what's here? What's your mark here? What's the done? Did you hear it?
Yeah.
You hear that? And what he does, he gives us a hairpin on our part. Is it in?
Yes, mate, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What does he mean by those hairpins?
I've always been told it's a kind of warmth of the expression.
Good enough. What was actually written about it was that he lingers. It's so beautiful He lingers on something, not just one note, but upon a whole idea, as if it's so beautiful he doesn't want to let it go. That was the exact quote. Isn't that interesting? And you just heard it. Play those 4 chords, the last 4 quavers of that one. You heard the bass? Because always in Brahms the bass is so important. So that means you've got to linger longer. When you see those 4 quavers, just stop your life and love every single one of them, okay? Remember, he doesn't care about the metronomic bar. So we're going to go from that. As long enough as you like. Okay, great. So now it's all beginning a little bit warped and we're going to sort of trip over ourselves and we don't know when the football's going to go down. Fine. Understood. But when you're working on the piece, or any Brahms, I would suggest go slower and listen to what's going on here, because it will tell you what's necessary. You can hear, everybody can hear it. Everybody can hear these harmonies, okay? So we've got to be willing to stop and listen harder, not worry, right?
Okay.
And my personal experience of this is if I do that, I suddenly stop worrying about how on earth am I going to play the viola at all, right? And something becomes freer, because it's not all about, I know you won't take this the wrong way. All performers have this problem. Suddenly, it won't be about me, it'll be about the music, and that's a much more healthy state to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, brilliant. Next bit. Off you go. Right there. Okay. Oh, great. There's the 10th again. What sort of shift do you want this time? Yeah, I would agree with you also, because it's not it's not like that, is it? It's more of a if I hear it in my head, the A flat's almost clean. But if you put that A flat on the G string, why would you put the A flat on the D string? Should it not be the same colour?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you can do that one.
Okay.
But it begins to get a bit of a fistful, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
we're hoping that it's not too humid so that it can still shift. I know. Okay. Pass that for a second, and just remember that every Brahms triplet is never rushed. Golden rule of thumb. Never rush a Brahms triplet. With Schubert, you can get away with something else. It's a different flavour altogether, even though Brahms is in Vienna, you know all that. But these ones, very autumnal, looking backwards, very, very nostalgic, going back to North Germany. Hamburg, his youth, his Prussian books, his heroes, okay, different, not just Vienna anymore. Been through it, done that, got the t-shirt, gone home again. This cadence, actually, if I preempted myself, what sort of a cadence is this? No. It's an imperfect cadence.
Yeah.
Because that's the tonic. Sorry, that's trick questions. I'm being horrible. I'm sorry, forgive me. Beat me up later. That's 1, tonic. That's dominant. 1, 5, imperfect cadence. The equivalent of a comma instead of a full stop. Right? Okay, so what are the important notes? You're so good. You're being so brilliant. Sorry, it's taking you all this. Horrible. What are the important notes in that? No, not that passage with the 5 at the end of it and horrible shit. What are the important notes?
The E flat and the B are the cool ones, but the interest lies in the passing notes between.
That may be so. The interest lies in there, yes, okay. But what's going to hold the thing together? What's going to stop it all falling to pieces? For me, the attention on those important notes. Okay, you've got 1 E flat, and you've got 3 B flats. I don't hear those.
Okay.
Clearly enough, with some kind of rhythmic cogency, to make me feel, and that's it. Oh no, But wait, it's easier to play if you think that. It's the same as what we're speaking about. I'm just going to mess it up. But if you go, everybody can hear what you've done, what's happened. Windermere weather, right? So I would look for and enjoy and it will make musical sense to your pianist as well. He'll know where to come in afterwards.
Okay.
Because there's been some kind of rhythmic cogency. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be really horrible and just go. In fact, I'll tell you what, here's the thing to do. Do this. Say your bow like crazy. Actually, change bow at the end if you want. But just vibrate on the E flat and then 3 B flats. Okay, it's so much easier. I know the C is supposed to be important, but not at the expense of the structure, the harmonic structure of that horrible little phrase, which is so beautifully written for the clarinet and so horrible for us. Right?
Okay.
Okay, good. Would you like to go on right from here? Okay, done ours, we were just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Good, fantastic. Now just tell me, what are you listening to, particularly?
Bass, and then
Yes.
there's a rhythmic coming on.
Good, me too, me too. And then of course the problem starts, you say, okay, well let's try that. Play the bass only, Andrew. Great, fantastic. Okay, now can you put in the treble a little more strongly than you should, probably? And now you're going to play off the treble, okay? Because it's 6 of one, half dozen the other, it's everything. This is the challenge. How do you balance these opposites? Is it possible to play just the right hand? So what I'm getting at is so that we can hear the ti-da-da, ba-da-da.
Mm.
Fantastic. No, so I could ask the audience, okay, which do you think is the most important way of hearing that? What should she be responding to, the right hand or the left hand?
Left hand.
Left hand. Anybody for the right hand? It's probably, actually, if we run the poll, it's probably evenly matched, and that's the challenge. You've got to do both. You playing that part, which is relatively insignificant compared with this, have to do both. and in the process of doing both these things, you feel this sort of, this emotional pull, tension, yes, somebody's attention, inside yourself, which is this thing that holds Brahms together, stuck by the structure of the thing, and this tremendous need to sing, full voice, beauty, absolutely incredible. Oh, yes. Okay? So listen to both and see which one attracts you. Maybe you can do one with more attention to the left hand. Maybe you can do one with more attention to the right hand.
Okay.
See where I'm going? It's going to change every time you get to this piece now. I know. Okay, good idea. Now, would you do something for me, Andrew? Would you actually prompt her to respond in a different way?
Okay.
And then he's off on the worst bit of piano writing that Brahms has ever written. Okay, so you have first note of the slur.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can hear the amount of sound and articulation that's coming out from this instrument. You need to match that. And the beginning of the piece starts on the downbeat, right? So in this case, there. I'm sorry. You do Dunlop, you're fine. Okay? So there's a breath before you arrive at that bar line. It's as if the piece starts there, forte. Right?
Yeah.
You have to do the same place, but it's so beautiful, it doesn't matter. Go on. next time. So, put a little comma there. Just a cigarette paper's thickness of air, right there. So it has a. It's not delaying it. It's not even in a Gothic accent. It's just making it clear there's an arrival.
Okay.
Right? Can we pick it up from there? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yep. So you start. We need a bow that's 3 times as long, don't we?
Yeah, that would be nice.
So in fact, what I do it up the octave as well, for this reason that it's so impossible. In other words, I follow the clarinet part. I know the Superman, Pinky Zuckerman, does it exactly as Brahms left it, or whoever, Simrock, what was his publisher? Anyway, but if you do it down the octave, you need more power.
Okay.
You simply do, because that's the top of the phrase. You set it up, you've got a 19-foot Steinway here, right, with the lid up, and you've got to put the cap on the phrase. So I would take the separate bow, and that's my reason to do it. It's not a question of saying it's going to be da, da, it's not going to be articulate. No, you're going to honour the spirit of the slur, but you're going to produce the sound necessary.
Yeah.
So I would say, okay, 2 separate, 2 slow. Try it, and use the whole bow, and slow him down if necessary. Put the cap on the phrase. Tritone. Thank you. So we hear the last note. Good. Big breath and second. Don't be afraid of the irrational, meaning as a close canon, right? So your phrase, the classical slur. Okay, that's the model, and he's going to follow you. Release the slur, in other words. So we hear the canon. And then he doesn't write. And on that bar, when you have, he has. So your quavers are important, his quavers are important, and they talk to each other, out of sync, right? So make them long enough and expressive enough. Well, you can put it right there. Take your time, here's a hairpin. Take your time. No, okay, right, but he didn't write 2 semiquavers. He wrote a triplet.
Yeah.
And honestly, Henrietta, I tell you, my own experience, I come back to this every time, trying to get the triplets away from the quavers, and yet have them like Amsterdam, Amsterdam, as we used to do it. The only way I've managed to do it is once play, turn them into quavers, because it's the only way I've found of making long enough and expressive enough. In other words, play them as quavers to start once, just try it. Oh, dee, da, da, da. It'll be together, I know. Fine, okay. Now just come off the tie a fraction later, but play them like that.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
but you've got to get to the next beat in time.
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Okay.
Now don't release. Sostenuto, Brahms, sostenuto. Yes. Same again. So you're getting to the downbeat too late. Oh, the next beat I should.
Yeah.
Right? That's got to be the same. The half bars come in the right place.
Yeah.
Just try one last time. It's coming off, so to be clear, just come off the tie earlier,
Yeah.
in other words. Tension in the sound. Tension. Because his phrase goes on. Right? Don't stop. You've got to support it. That's one case where a classical slur does not have to diminuendo. To there. You got it?
Yeah.
People are showing me that, in fact, we've got to stop time and stuff like that. So, sorry, we haven't even got a cadence there. I'm so sorry, but we have to stop. Thank you. Bravo.
Thank
well
you.
done.
Okay.